I've always been very connected to what people are saying and how they're feeling and how they're expressing those feelings. And so that's always been a part of how I process information and also how I make sense of myself in the world. And so that practice and that awareness of how I make sense of myself and the world is, I think, a big part of my spiritual foundation. And so I've always been a spiritual person, even though I never, I didn't always call it that. And from there, I moved to the United States from Jamaica, and I lived with my mother, and she wasn't religious, but we were in a Christian household, and that was the understanding. One of the wonderful things, the many wonderful things about my relationship with my mother growing up is that she never forced what she believed on me or my brothers. She told us what made sense for her every once in a while, and we also saw it. And on occasion, we went to church, a Christian church, and that was the general understanding. But for me, as I got older and started to seek a connection to God for myself, not based on what I was told or taught, but based on what I was feeling, or, just trying to make that connection for myself, I realized that it wasn't about a particular faith or denomination. It was a personal experience that needed to be explored, and that I could pull in other resources like books, like people, but that I didn't want it to be in a space of like an institution, like church, or a place where there were a predefined set of rules that happened way before I got there and would be in place way after I was gone. So spiritual exploration has always been at the forefront of my journey, as a mother, as a wife, as a writer, as an entrepreneur, as a sister friend, as a daughter, even when I was a student, especially when I was a student. And I want to create a space here for that exploration to happen for other people who are going through their own spiritual experience. Some of us call it a spiritual awakening. Some of us call it spiritual exploration. It's just the idea that whatever your connection is to God or universe or creator or higher self, that the definition or the parameters of that relationship can be determined by you, and how that relationship enhances your daily life and your daily choices can happen through rituals and practices that you can create or that you can refine. So I know that for a lot of us, when we have that awakening and realize that however we were raised or whatever we believed before is not serving us at this point in our journey, or that we need it to be something different, we experience guilt, or we experience a sense of loneliness or disconnect. So we try to figure out how to create these practices for ourselves. If we were in the traditional space of a church, say a Christian church, because that's the background that I know, then you know that you're going to pray. You know that you're going to go to church on Saturdays or Sundays, depending on your faith, and you maybe go to Bible study and you fellowship. So there's a community and there's a set of rituals. I know that's a strong word for some of us, but we're going to talk about that more in this course. But we have these rituals that are already set that we do. We sing, we sit, we stand, we pray, we do these things. But then if we decide to deviate from what we've been told or taught, we don't have those rituals anymore, and we don't have these things that we've practiced, so we don't feel as comfortable, and we're not sure if we're connecting or if we should be doing it differently. So this course is just about the exploration of that. I'm going to show you some of the things that I do, and the things that really serve me to remind me that my spirituality, which is my connection to God, is not about what I'm not doing. It's about how I'm feeling and the intention that I set and the reverence that I have for being a part of something that is greater than me, understanding that for me, I am not different from God. I am an aspect of God, and that I can be comfortable with that, saying that, feeling through that, understanding what that means for me, deciding what aspects of that I want to share with my daughters, and what aspects I want to leave open for them to create that exploration or that connection for themselves. this is really about that. It's about exploring spirituality on your own terms, but I'm going to give you a lot of examples of things that I do and that I learned about that help me stay connected to the spiritual space. So I'm not going to share anything that I haven't either done or studied, which I think is refreshing, which is why I take this approach to anything that I teach. And I'm also really excited about this because I'm looking forward to learning about you and what spiritual challenges and spiritual triumphs you use to really create the type of life experience that you want on a daily basis. So I'm happy you're here. I'm looking forward to learning, growing, and exploring with you. You're in a safe space, and I think you're going to enjoy yourself. All right? See you inside the course.